Welcome everybody to webinar 777, the global leader for life-changing webinars to empower dreams and transform communities. The title of today's webinar is Partnering with the Virginia Employment Commission's Workforce Connection, a recruitment source. This webinar is intended for professionals, senior professionals, and supportive staff working in human resources for recruitment, labor market information, and labor compliance. We'd like to extend a special thanks to our sponsor, the Piedmont Workforce Network, for making this webinar possible through their generous support. Today, your life will change forever. Your mind is being expanded to the dimensions of new thought, and it will never retract to its original size or shape. I'm Dr. Joseph Peck. I'm a physician, leadership coach, and creative marketing and communication strategist. And my passion is creating a movement to empower dreams of millions of people through coaching, journaling, and life-changing webinars. Webinars are the new global interactive TV. And so this webinar is particularly exciting because connecting employees and employers strategically is important to empower people's dreams. We have several panelists who will be sharing today, including Jim Cherapitch, Star Lambert, Bill Walker, Marilyn Carter, Valerie Scott, and Sandy Taylor. Before Star Lambert starts the teaching, we're going to hear from Jim Cherapitch. Jim is president and CEO of the Culpeper Chamber of Commerce. He also serves on the board of directors for the Virginia Chamber of Commerce Executive. So welcome, Jim. And will you please share briefly about the problem we are attempting to solve with this educational webinar?
Good morning, and thank you, Dr. Peck, and welcome to everybody today for attending. We certainly appreciate the participation today. The issue that we are focusing on is the shrinking labor market and the ever-expanding need for finding skilled workers in the workplace is even more important today than ever. And so the issue today was trying to find resources and pointing to the resources that the Virginia Employment Commission offers to help solve that equation for employers. The VEC has updated and revised their website to make it a little bit more user-friendly and robust in terms of the resources available. And so we felt it was very important to try to communicate with our business community those resources and how to use those resources. And so I'm very excited that the team that came together to put this webinar in place today is the Germanna Community College, as you noticed, Center for Community Development, the Virginia Employment Commission resources, and the partners as a part of the Piedmont Workforce Network. We were able to put this together and bring these resources to try to create some shortcuts in the ways of getting to the information in the VEC website to make those resources for finding quality employees in the workplace today more visible and the resources more user-friendly. So we're excited to have everybody here and certainly appreciate the participation from all the partners as well.
Well, thank you, Jim, for that outstanding summary. You truly are a visionary. I've told you that numerous times, and it was you that took the initiative to get the ball rolling for this educational webinar. Well, let me now introduce our main presenter, Star Lambert, and she truly is a star. She's done a lot of work behind the scenes to make this possible. She's a great teacher. I've really enjoyed getting to know her. Star currently works as the Northern Region Trainer for the Virginia Employment Commission. She started with the VEC in 1977 as a program specialist for the Work Incentive Program. She has now worked for 36 years in workforce services, filling in and stepping up to assist as needed on numerous and specialized projects. She received the Commissioner's Award for Customer Service in 2001 and the Outstanding Achievement for Team Spirit in 2003. So welcome, Star. You're on. And let's have you start by sharing the agenda for today's webinar.
Okay. As you can see, today's agenda is quite aggressive. We will explain how partnering with the Virginia Workforce Connection will be able to save you some time by giving you greater exposure to more qualified candidates and allow you to access individuals when you are ready to recruit anytime, day or night, without any cost of ads or paid listings. Locating skilled workers is another asset here for your tradable candidates with related skill sets, reducing the cost of the learning curves and the training costs. The use of the interactive information on the current labor market information is very important. If there is adequate, you find out whether there's an adequate candidate pool to your area, if training programs are needed or available, and if information is available to determine how competitive your business is within a particular locality. As you can see, it's all about connecting. The Virginia Workforce Connection, as you will see, will be a valuable tool to add to your toolbox along with your other resources that you have, especially since the system is free. The Virginia Employment Commission has a strong commitment to serving our community with our employers. The agency has 3 different divisions. We have the recruitment services through the Virginia Workforce Connection Network with field staff to assist employers and applicants to fill workforce needs. We also work with the unemployment insurance services. As you might notice in Virginia Employment Commission, the E stands for employment. The unemployment is another division. And then we have the Economic Information Division, which provides our labor market information. We also provide numerous federal programs and support information for employers and their recruitment and for their human capital needs. The website, the VEC.virginia.gov, is our main website, and it links to information to our services for employers and job seekers alike. For employer services, there are several ways to get to the same place, so you can find one that works for you that you like the best. One way is to click on the green bar that you'll see up here at the top under Employers, and then you'll find this screen will pop up. If you prefer once on the site, you can scroll down the page, and when you do that, you'll see something that looks like this. The Employers section, there are, in this part, there are 2 links that will take you to the same place. The Employer Quick Links over here, and click here will also get you there. If you click on the picture, clicking on the employer section, here are some of the same and yet some different, such as you'll see the job fair postings, information on assistance and incentives, and also information about our Virginia Employment Advisory Committee information. We strongly encourage any employer to join our advisory committees. They are very helpful for new developments within our programs, as well as spreading the word further to the employer community. As you continue to scroll down the page, you'll see more links available. Take some time to look through these links so you're familiar with what is available to you. If you need assistance, at the very bottom of the page, and you'll see Contact Us, and then Employers Contact Us, and Employer Services link. And when you get here, you will then be able to send an email directly to Marilyn Carter. She's out of our central office for any questions that you may have on these services. Let's focus now on an overview of the Virginia Workforce Connection itself. The VWC provides the tools, and what we do then is match that information and job requirements with the skills of the job seekers. Please note that the website address, vawc.virginia.gov, and be sure to post that under your favorites because you'll be going to it frequently. This is our matching website. This is where it all comes together for the employers and the job seekers. Employers do not go inactive into our site. Many people have asked us about that. Only the job orders go inactive. And as you can see, we had 7,833 employers access the site between August the 1st of last year and August the 1st of this year. And it will continue to grow. It keeps adding all the time. The same thing with our job seekers and with our job orders. Our goal at the VEC is to help you as business owners and hiring professionals to find the qualified employees efficiently and economically. And I guess this comes to you, Joseph.
And launch our first poll. The question is, have you had recruitment activities for open positions over the last 2 quarters? The first option is yes, and we paid a lot to advertise those positions. The second choice is yes, and we paid a little to advertise those positions. The third choice is yes, and we did not pay to advertise those positions. And the fourth choice is no. So thank you. I can see you're entering those. We're going to close the poll. So you can see that about half of you said yes, and we paid a lot to advertise those positions, and the VEC services are free. Option 2, yes, and we paid a little to advertise those positions. About a quarter of you said that, and then about 20% were split between yes, and we did not pay, and no, we didn't do that. So that's interesting.
Thank you. Okay, we understand that there are a lot of issues and trends and challenges for the business community today. We're needing skilled workers, locating a workforce with specific skill sets, accessible training, being globally competitive, all while remaining compliant. You are able to search for suitable applicants for your job openings. Applicants are able to reach out for those opportunities. You just register, log in, and use. Since we have no fees on this, we do have a lot of people using the system. It's providing a wide diversity of applicants where you can target as an employer seeking applicants the type of applicant that actually you will specifically need for your available opening. Our knowledgeable staff is also there to help assist you. An important note, please, the VEC does not have access to criminal record reports. We review our candidates' backgrounds, and it's limited to the work and educational history. We do not conduct any further investigations, such as criminal background checks, before referring our candidates. Did you know, since it's a very intuitive system, that within our listings you can post jobs online in a suppressed fashion if need be, or you can list from a local level and even to a national level, depending on the specific skills needed. You can use the built-in message center to be notified of new registrants qualified for your position. When reviewing candidates, you can have the ability to rank them for suitability for the job, thus aiding in the screening process. Or, if you come across an individual that you would like to consider or maybe reconsider at a later time, you can add them to a favorites list and look at them later with a specific note. When the hiring process is made, results can be posted directly into the system as to who was hired, who responded as requested or not, and that could also help potentially reduce unemployment fraud. The interview screening questions is a feature to allow you to present some questions in varying formats that the candidates need to answer before applying to help assess their skills, knowledge, and their abilities, and so forth. The questions can be in various formats, such as multiple choice, text, true, false, yes and no, or numerical. If you have a need for security clearances, can preview only candidates that currently have a security clearance. How about the need for specific information to build a job description or to research a wage rate for a specific area or occupation? You can click into our labor market information or ONET right at your fingertips. Have any questions on these? Be sure to contact our office, and we'd be more than happy to help you with that. At this point, we'd like to pass the presentation over to Bill Walker, and he'll go into the actual registration process for you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, I'm Bill Walker, and I'm the Reemployment Project Manager with the Virginia Employment Commission. I'm going to take us through the process that a job seeker would do to get registered for job services in the Virginia Workforce Connection, and then also how to post jobs and exciting things like that. First of all, on the main Virginia Workforce Connection system, want to show a few things here. First of all, we've got some good information that we want you to look at in regard to the various services that we have available for employers. If you click on the more services link, it brings up a whole lot of very useful information. Also, take a look at the employer guidance. We have a policy that's out there that talks very clearly about the regulations and the rules that we have for employers for being registered and posting jobs into the system. And then once you're on the main site here, if you're already registered, you would log in with the username and the password and get into the system. If you're not, which we're going to take the scenario that you're not registered, you would click the not registered link to begin the registration process. We have three options once you click that link. First one, you are able to try out the system as a guest access. And this will actually allow you to do a search for candidates and allow you to look at a lot of the features in the system. However, if you do a search for candidates, it may show you that there are 30, 40, 50 forklift operators in the general vicinity that you're looking for. But once you go in to look at those specific individuals, you will not be able to see the detailed information until you get logged in. So you would have to create your employer account, and then, which is the option 2, create the employer account, and then you would, once you have the account established, you'll be able to see specific information about job candidates and qualified applicants for positions that you put into the system. On the next page here, we're going to talk about the login information. We're just going to go through this very quickly, but you will need to create a username, which is unique for the system. No one else can have that username. And then the password. We are using the complex password process, which we have the description here, but it has to be 8 to 16 characters, must have at least one uppercase, one lowercase letter, a number, and a special character. You create the password, confirm the password, security question, select a security question. There's a dozen or so that you can pick, and then you would give your response to that. Pretty standard for most websites when you're logging in to create an account. Once you've created that basic information, you're going to log in with your company name, the federal ID number, and if you're we do allow you the option to use a social security number. The only time that you would really want to do that would be if you were a new employer in the area and had not created a federal ID number at this point. It does send a flag up to us if somebody uses something other than the federal ID number, and so we would need to verify why the federal ID number was not provided. So we will be checking to make sure, but that is one of the security checks we do, is to make sure that they are established employer in the Virginia or with the federal ID number and all. So the next thing you're going to do here at the bottom of the page is putting the zip code. Once you put in the zip code, that is going to assign you to one of our 33 offices based on the zip code for your main office there. The staff would then be notified of a newly registered employer, and we'll be able to review your registration information and get you going in that process. Going through the next page is pretty much the basic information that you're putting in. Now this is going to be your address, city, state. All of this information is going to be in regard to the primary location for your business. Then if a lot of times folks may have a mailing address that is different. It might be a P.O. box. I know here in Central Office of VEC we have a P.O. box for our mailing address, but you want the physical address on the previous screen, and the mailing address, this would be on the for where correspondence would be mailed to. The contact information is going to be the primary contact that's going to be working with this account. They're going to have the person's title. You can see all the red stars are going to show you what is the required fields, what needs to be filled in. And then the company information. The first section on company information, you have to put the industrial title. The industrial title is going to go into a search mode, and you're going to search for the type of business that you have, and that's going to put in the NAICS code for your company. All of this is tied into labor market information, and it's all going to show how it's all going to report on that to the LMI information that we have that we provide to employers and job seekers. Also set the size of the company, type of employer, and if you are a federal contractor. The company profile, I think, is a very critical portion of the registration process. A lot of job seekers, when they're looking for information about a company, they want to get some general information about the legitimacy of the company and how established they are. So this is a really neat feature in that you can do an actual copy and paste. You can take information from your main website, or you can take it from a document that you have, copy that and paste it right in here, and make it, you can change the font and increase it and do different things to make it more, to stand out more for the job seekers as they're looking at the information about your company. Also, we're going to have the option where you can put in the various benefits that are offered by your company, and this is another big thing for job seekers, that they want to see what benefits are being offered for the company. So you would go through and you would indicate what benefits. Now, I will tell you at this point, these would be maybe the primary benefits the company has. If, as you're putting a job order into the system, which is going to come out a little bit later, you could modify and change those benefits, because certain jobs may have additional benefits. You may have travel allowance that's available for certain positions but not others. You may have a company vehicle that is available for salespeople or whatever, but not for office administration staff. So you can groom the benefits portion to the individual job order, but this is the basic benefits that your company offers. At this point, you've basically created the registration process. So that what we've taken you through is establishing your account with the Virginia Employment Commission. I do want to let you know that we take no longer than but up to 72 hours to review your account and just make sure that everything looks good before we get it enabled. 72 hours is basically because of weekends or holidays or whatever. Usually it's done within 24 hours once we have received the notice that we've created, that a new employer has created an account in our system. So once you've created the account, you have 3 different options that you can go to. You can add locations and add contacts. Now this is, a lot of companies have multiple locations, and so they may want to put in that they have a store or a location in a different city or county, and you can add that. Also, you may not be the primary or you may not be the only person using your account, so you can create additional contact people that can have various levels of privileges and services that they can do through the system. Often folks are ready to post a job, so you have the option there that you can post a job, or you can go onto the dashboard, and the dashboard basically shows all of the different services and systems that are available through the Virginia Workforce Connection. We're going to take you here now to creating a new work site, and the work site could be that you maybe your corporate office is in Richmond, but you are hiring for some position in Ashland, Virginia. So this is where you would create the work site. You want to notice at the top, this is not the primary location. This is just the work site for the job order that you're going to be putting in, or any other additional work sites that your company has. Once again, you go through the various sections that are required, the location, street address, all of that is required fields. It pre-populates to the zip code that's in the system, but you can change that and make it be a different zip code. And if your company has a website, you want to make sure you put that in, email contact for this work site if there is a separate email from the main website, from the main contact. And then of course, if you have a mailing address that is different, if it's the same mailing address, then you would click here. If it's the same mailing address for the site, if it's the same mailing address, if all the mail goes to the corporate location, and you click there, it pre-populates all of the information. If the work site contact is the main contact on the system, then you would click for there. Otherwise, you would create a new contact person. This is where we've had some additional features that have been added just in the last year or two. So if you haven't used the system in a while, this is some really good information. First of all, in addition to the associate work sites, we're going to talk about how you can add contacts. You can add an additional contact person. Prior to our upgrade about a year and a half ago, there was one login ID and one password for the company. Now we have where you can have multiple logins and multiple passwords for each individual can have their own login ID and their own password, so you don't have to share that information. I'm going to take you through that process real quickly here. Once again, you would create a username and a password for the individual who you were giving access to. So if you're the president of the company, but you want your HR director to be able to log into the system and to be able to put job orders in or review candidates and all, first thing you want to do is you need to click this box right here where it says give the contact the ability to sign in. Once you click that box, then it opens up the opportunity to give them a username and a password, and you're going to set the security questions and go through that process. The next thing that is really neat is that once you've created that second contact person, you can determine what privileges as the main contact person for the system. You can create what privileges you want that person to have. So you can select, do you want them to be able to create job orders? Do you want them to be able to delete job orders? All of these different options are available. You can give them full access where they can do pretty much anything to the account that you choose, or you can limit the access and say, this person just works in this location, so I'm going to allow them to modify the contacts for that location and the address and all, but I don't want them to mess with the corporate site. So all of these options are available that you can set up for the additional contact people that you have associated with your company. And we're on our way to posting jobs. I want to talk about the process for posting jobs. We're going to take you through this. On the main VEC website, we have an option here that says post a job and find a candidate. So if you're on the main VEC website, which is www.vec.virginia.gov, in the employer section, you can go directly in to post a job or a candidate. Once you're there, you will have to log into the Virginia Workforce Connection system, and you can be ready to roll with posting the job. On the Virginia Workforce Connection system, which of course you can see what the address is for that, there are a number of different ways that you can get into the job orders. We have about 2 or 3 different ways. On the main page here, you can see where there's a link that says you can directly click to the job orders. You can also go into your employer portfolio in the human resources file, and that will allow you to go into putting a job in the system. Or on the quick menu, one of the first options on the left-hand side, it says very clearly manage jobs, and that will take you right into the job order process. I want to point out at this point that once you're into the job order, if you have this record, this is showing that there are no records for the job orders in the system. So at this point, the employer does not have any active job orders. I want to show you where it says show filter criteria. The default is only going to pull up active job orders. So if you have any old job orders, you would need to click show filter criteria and choose the option that says any or all jobs. And once you put that any jobs, it will pull up any job orders that have been closed or deleted or whatever, and you can use those jobs to copy and create a new job order. And I'll talk about that a little bit more here. You see the flag flying. I want to bring to your attention that in accordance with compliance for the Veterans Mandated Act, all of our job orders immediately go into a veteran hold process for up to 48 hours. Any new job order in our system, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a match for military veterans, see if we have any good qualified military veteran candidates, and we're going to get in touch with them to tell them about the job listing. Once we've done a good thorough search for military veterans, then the job order will become open and available, and it'll be available for any candidates to see. And that never takes more than 48 hours. It frequently will take less than that time. Usually we get to that on the same day process, but after 48 hours, the job order will be open and available for all candidates to see. The example we have here, we have a job order that is entitled Short Order Cook. And if you want at this point, you can click on to edit the job title. You can find there are all sorts of cook type positions in the system. So if you want to say, well, it's not really short order cook, this is a chef type position, you can edit that job title. You can also look here, the worksite address gets assigned to one of our 33 local offices. If you see that this location is not the location you want, then you can make a modification. You can select another location for the job, or you can make an edit to the location. And then the contact person, if you see here that, oh, this is not actually the contact person, I have a different person, you can either edit the contact person or you can select another contact for the specific job order. I want to talk real briefly about the staff screen options. The first option here says display online to job seekers. Now, in most cases, you're going to definitely want the job order to be out online for job seekers to see. Now, there are occasions where the employer says, I want the job order out there for folks to see, but I do not want my company name showing. I'm trying to do this recruitment, but I don't want people to call me directly. I want them to go through the system, so I'm not going to put the company name out there. Another option that we have says have our staff screen your applicants. If you say, yes, you want our staff to screen your applicants, then what that's going to mean is that none of the applicants will be able to apply directly for this job order until we go through the process of reviewing their qualifications and making sure that they meet the minimum requirements for that job. So if you choose this is our term for it is a suppressed job order. The job seeker will be able to see the job order, they will be able to see the job duties, responsibilities, they'll be able to see all that information, but when they have a little button at the bottom that says click here on instructions to apply, it's going to tell them that they need to contact the Virginia Employment Commission, and we will have to review their information to make sure that they're a good candidate. A lot of times employers get discouraged if they're not getting quality applicants, because if the job order is not in a suppressed status or this yes is not checked, then job seekers can apply for the position irregardless of their skills or qualifications. So if you were to click the yes button here, they will not be able to apply for the position until we've looked at their qualifications. And then the last option here talks about they have to meet specifically with the staff member, but usually you just by checking the third yes here would allow us to review the candidates and make sure they meet your minimum qualifications before we're referring them on to the position. Into the job details now, you have your number of positions. It's really important that you put in if you have more than one position available. Now, we really don't want you to say, 999, because that's probably not realistic. But if you are looking to hire 4, 6, 8, 10 people, put that into the job order, and job seekers will see that, hey, there's a number of positions available, and that's going to be encouraging for them to apply for those also. I want to show you here the date to display is going to basically pull up the date that you put the job order in, unless you want to delay. If you're putting the job order in today but you don't want it to go out until Monday, then you can change that date, and it's going to automatically default for 60 days. Want to make sure that our job orders, you can make them less than 60 days, but we really do not want the job order to go beyond the 60-day time period. It's involved in our federal reporting as far as the job orders, the number of job orders in the system, and even more importantly for me, I think, is that if you've got a job order that's been sitting out there for 6 months or a year, job seekers look at those job orders and they're seeing a job that's been out there for 6 months and they're like, there's got to be something wrong with this job if they're still recruiting after 60 days or, after 6 months or whatever. So we really just leave it at 60 days, and once the job order has come to that 60-day period, it's very easy to copy the job order, put it back out there for another 60 days, and as I tell the employers, it comes across that it's a new and fresh job, and it's going to be kind of well well found by the job seekers, because when the job seekers do a job search, the job search they do usually results in the most recent jobs at the top of the screen. So it's kind of like I tell one of the employers, it's putting your job order back on the top, so to speak, as opposed to being buried down in job orders that have been populating over the last 4 or 5 months or however long you've got that in there. So we really want to keep it to 60 days. Then the additional information you can fill in very easily. We do have a default for the minimum of applicants of 50 applicants. You can change that if you say you don't want that many applicants, or if you say, well, we'll take as many applicants as we can get. You can add, make it 500. You can make whatever change you want for the number of applicants. Now this is a very important screen. I think this is one of the most important screens on the job order, and this is the actual job description. Now this employer for this job order put in something very basic. Job seeker must be able to cook several food items at one time in a short time frame. Doesn't really tell much at all about this job. It's very basic, very minimal. But if we took something that, and to me this looks like this came right off of a job description for the employer, you can actually, because this is a text box, you could actually copy off of a job description, and you could put that right into this format. And this is wonderful. I think this is great. This goes into very clear description of what the job seeker needs to be able to do, and a nice description of their requirements for the position. So this is definitely a preferred method, would be to copy and paste some information, or just to give good details on the requirements for the job. The more time spent initially with the job description and skill sets, the better your applicant pool is going to be, and the better that it's going to show it to the job seeker as far as what the requirements are. The other thing I want to talk about is the skills for the job. A lot of times employers will not complete the skills that are needed for the job, or only do the basic skills. The better you spell out what the real skills are for the position, the better you're going to get job matches, and the better candidates you're going to find. So basically what I tell folks is the more quality work you do at the front of the job order, the better it's going to get you results at the end of the job order. We have another section here where you can add any special software or hardware skills needed, or there is a text box that's available where you can actually put in specific skills that are required for the job. Hiring requirements. We have, if you're going to be doing drug testing or background checks, credit checks, I do want to note that one of the things we look closely at is the motor vehicle record check. If you're requiring a motor vehicle record check, then you need to make sure that it's work related, and you cannot require a person to have a driving record or a driver's license just to make sure that they can get to work. That is not acceptable. It has to be a part of their job, has to be the fact that they have to do some driving related to the job. It may be that I know in the office I used to work at, we had to take mail to the post office in the afternoon. So the clerical worker actually had to be able to have a driver's record so that they could drive to the post office each afternoon to take the mail. So, but it has to be an actual part of the job duties for the driving record. I will tell you that you can request, if a driving record is required, the Virginia Employment Commission staff have access to the DMV record, and we can pull that up and pull a copy up. We would give the driving record to the job seeker, and then when they go to apply, they will actually have a copy of their driving record that they can show to you, and it shows you what their how many points they have, or positive points or whatever. So also we have some additional criteria, which is minimum age, experience, and education requirements. You want to fill this in very clearly, and once again, you want to put what the minimum requirements are that you're going to have for the job. If you have a minimum age that you're putting in, there has to be a reason why you're putting in a minimum age, and the drop-down screen here would tell you if it's for serving alcohol or if it's for insurance reasons or whatever, but you can't just arbitrarily say that you want somebody over 25 or something. There has to be a legitimate reason for the age requirement. We have an option here where you can click the link for more information. If you want to see what is the general amount of education required for, in this case, a cook, you can click on that link. It'll tell you what that is, and also what the typical experience is, required experience for a cook position. Now, I get flustered with this screen a little bit because the minimum salary of 0, that is an option, but I really discourage employers from putting a minimum salary of 0. Most of our job seekers, when they're searching for jobs, they're looking for jobs that are going to, according to the amount that the job pays. And so a lot of times they are not going to find your job. If you put a minimum salary of 0, they're not going to be looking for jobs like that. They're going to say, I want to find a job that pays at least $7.50 an hour or $10 an hour. So if they're putting that in as their search criteria and you put that your minimum salary is 0, they in a lot of cases will not find your job listing. So we really want you to put in the salary, and you can put a range. You can put the minimum and the maximum salary, and those searches will populate for the job seeker when they're looking for that. Also, we have, once again, I talked about this earlier, where you can modify the benefits for the position. If the employer had already put in on their profile what benefits are provided, this would have been pre-populated. And then you can say, well, for this job, we don't actually offer stock options, or we don't require a uniform for the job. So you can take off or add any benefits specific for this job. But the regular benefits that are offered according to your profile will pre-populate. You won't have to go back through and check these again. You only have to modify it if it's any different for a specific position that you're working with here. Now, this is a real important section that I want you to take a look at here. This is the various methods that you can ask for a job seeker to apply for the position. The first one, which is the default one, it says provide a VWC online resume through our system. If you have that as an option, then you will be able to see the actual resume of the job seeker once they click on that they are interested in applying for your position. So that one's really good. If you choose any of these other options, if you say apply in person or by phone, it will provide to the job seeker that information related to what's next to it. In other words, if you say in person, it's going to give the street address for your company where to apply. If it says by phone, it's going to provide the phone number to the job seeker. If you were to check fax, and that one they did not provide a fax number, but if you want them to fax a resume, if you click that, then the fax number will appear. Oops, go back on that one, sorry. There is no need to view resumes if you want them to apply by the website. I know a lot of companies now, they want you to go onto the website and apply. If that's your requirement to apply is through the website, and you click that option, then it will give them the website, and it will allow them to click on and go directly to your website to apply. This is another feature that's come out just in the past year or so, and this is where the employer can say, I want to make sure that the job seeker provides this specific information. So if you say required for contact information, employment history, education, etc., the job seeker will not be able to apply for your position through our system until they provide that information. So this is kind of neat. We didn't have this before, and employers sometimes would get discouraged because it's like they'd have a job seeker who did not provide education or employment history. If you check on those boxes, they will not be able to apply until they give you that information. Below that is the application question set. This is another very good screening mechanism that you all have available to you. Not a lot of employers use it, which is kind of puzzling to me, because you can set up a set of applicant questions, and once again, they will not be able to apply for the position until they respond to the questions. So you may ask them, have you had experience operating such and such a machine? And they would say yes or no. Or you may talk about how many months or years have you had doing customer service. You can actually have them do a text response where they actually have to type in an answer for a question. So if you set up these questions ahead of time, that will be a part of the application process, and you'll be able to see what their responses are to determine what kind of qualifications that these folks really have. So then we have the application notification method. If you would like, you can have an email sent to you every time an applicant is recorded in the system. You can get an email message or a message through our message center. There is an option here where you can have your job uploaded to USA Jobs or US Jobs, and all you have to do is click there, and there's a link that will automatically take your job listing out to US Jobs. Then we have some other information. If there's a job order that's veteran preference is required, green jobs, federal contracting. If you have security clearance that's required, there's a lot of places that are requiring security clearance now, especially for federal jobs. You can click that option, and then they will have to show what their security clearance level is for that job. And we're going to throw it out there for another poll. So if you can take over, Joseph, and ask this poll for us, poll question.
Okay, well, great. Yeah, we'll do that poll, and then we're going to go ahead and hear from Sandy Taylor, her comment. How useful would it be to your hiring efforts to access candidate trends, expected wages, local labor with specific skill sets? So the first option is very helpful, the second one is helpful, the third option is okay, and the fourth one is not helpful. And by the way, Bill, that was excellent. Great job presenting there. I know you're going to continue here shortly.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close the poll, and we're going to go ahead and share the results. So you can see that 64% said this would be very helpful, 27% said it would be helpful, and 9% said it would be okay. So about 90% of you are saying this is going to be helpful. So we want you to encourage you to use it yourself and to help spread the message to other employers. Well, Sandy, let's go ahead and have you, while I'm bringing up the slide, will you share a little bit about yourself, where you're currently working, and then we'd like your feedback as an employer about this, what the VEC is offering.
Great. Thanks, Joseph. And I want to thank Star and Bill for an excellent overview on what the employer services can do for the employer. As Star mentioned, you know, I use this as another tool of what I can do for recruiting. We are in a different kind of business here at SMG John Paul Jones Arena, so a lot of our recruiting is cyclical, related to basketball seasons or events. So I kind of have specific needs. And I've been using the VEC job postings for about the past 4 years. And I do love the update that they did about 1.5 years ago. And I just want to, from an employer standpoint, reassure everyone that it may look daunting from the beginning, but it is a very easy and intuitive system to use. And if you do a little bit of legwork on the front end and spend a little time thinking about how you envision your account to be and how you want to present your company, then it'll pay off on the back end. And it took me a couple years to learn that, plus a meeting with my local rep, Valerie. I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia, so I'm lucky enough that we have a workforce center here in Charlottesville, just down the street from our facility, so I can actually also go in and put up flyers and take in my own applications. The things that I've maximized this year was, number one, using the question sets. That has helped tremendously, sort of make sure that the people who are clicking through are doing it with thought and also looking to make sure that they match our qualifications. I do a lot of cut and pasting, as Bill mentioned. I normally will have the the job description up as a Word document, and I will cut and paste in, and then maybe infill with some skills from the skill set of the VEC. Since I post a lot of jobs over and over again, this year I created job templates. So now I can just save the template, and it has the questions already set up, and I can just go into the template and repost if I need to post the same job twice a year. Think about your company profile. Think about how you want to present your company, because a lot of people do look for employers of choice these days. And I also want to stress that a lot of people view the VEC as a place where people without jobs go to. But in my experience and from a lot of the applications that I get, it is a place where people who have jobs are looking for other jobs. So I want to assure people that they should forget sometimes the negative connotations that they may have in their mind, and just you are expanding your job pool and your applicant pool tremendously. This year with my postings, I would say, and I did a quick calculation yesterday, about 35 to 40% of the applications I got this year came in through my VEC postings. So I just want to reassure people, you know, it looks like a lot when you look at it on the slides, but once you start and click through it, it's intuitive and fairly easy to use. And there's always support at the VEC that you can call and get help with. And that's the main focus of what I wanted to convey. If there's any questions at the end, I'll still be on the call.
Well, thank you, Sandy. We appreciate your comments. So if you want to talk to Sandy in person, go to an event at the John Paul Jones Arena.
Right.
So in Charlottesville, Virginia. Well, Jim,
Yes.
let's hear your feedback.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Peck, and the panelists have been fantastic. I learned something each time that I see this presentation, and we've reviewed it a few times in preparation for today. And I don't know how to express to business enough the robust nature of this. Being an employer myself and hiring for our various roles here at the Chamber of Commerce, this is just a great resource for us to be able to take advantage of. So I certainly appreciate the depth and the presentations to help businesses save some time and as was stated earlier, find that group of employees that will stay with them and help reduce costs and be long-term assets for their organizations.
Well, thank you, Jim, for those outstanding remarks. And a thought came to my mind, an idea came to my mind as you were sharing. I think it would be good as a member of the Virginia Chamber of Commerce Executives to have this pass along the replay for this webinar to other chamber directors so that they can pass it on to people in their local communities to share the wealth, you know, of the information and resources.
Well, thank you. That's a great thought, and I hope to be able to do that. It certainly is a Virginia Employment Commission-based initiative here with sharing how to use the resource, so I think it would be a productive tool for other chamber executives as well.
Okay, thank you. And let's hear just briefly from Valerie Scott, and then we'll have Bill move on with the virtual assistant part.
Actually, I did want to comment on something which actually pertains to the screening process. It is definitely to an employer's benefit if they, number one, are looking for someone for a specific position, if they are finding as though the candidates who are responding to their job orders are not filling their needs completely, or if they just want to really release themselves from the bombardment of applications and have someone kind of winnow out great candidates for them, I definitely urge any employer who's interested to please contact the Virginia Employment Commission local office to get someone to help them with the screening process. It really does help when you have a second pair of eyes actually help you with finding a great candidate.
Well, thank you, Valerie. Those are great comments. And let's go ahead and just get feedback from Star on what Bill shared, see if you have anything you want to add.
Well, actually, you know, everything that Bill said was just very complete. The job order process, as Sandy mentioned, appears difficult, but it's not. It is so easy, and we will give you the address of a website for ONET if you're having trouble with definitions or trying to get maybe the duties of your job order. You want to make sure that the descriptions are clear and concise and something that's going to be able to screen the person in or screen them out to using the ONET. So we'll be coming up with that later, but it's a very useful system. We've had many, many, many positive comments from employers about the system, and we just strongly encourage you to go in and play with it a little bit and work it for your company and see, you know, what it is. Test it out.
Well, thank you. Yes, and I'd like to encourage all the employers out there who are listening to this live or listen to it at some point in the future, if you're in Virginia, to go ahead and register and to go ahead and check it out, and because it is very valuable. And also, I'll encourage you to contact the people. These people are experts, but the VEC provides personal service for you to help you as an employer find good employees, and it helps the job seekers as well. Okay, well, Bill, I'm going to go ahead and change you back to be the presenter and let you go ahead and continue.
All right, the virtual recruiter. I love the virtual recruiter. I really, really wish more employers would use it. I know job seekers use it immensely, but the employers, I'm not so sure that they use it to the benefits that it could be available. We're going to take you through the process real quickly on how the virtual recruiter works. Basically, the virtual recruiter is a system that you could set up, that you can have it run on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, looking for candidates that meet the criteria for the jobs that you have set up, or for the search that you've set up. So under your human resource plan, you can see where it says virtual recruiter. Another option is on the quick menu on the left-hand side here under recruitment services. You've got the virtual recruiter at that point also. And what you really need to do to make the virtual recruiter work is you're going to do a candidate search. So once you click the option for candidate search, we have, as you can see, we have 6 different ways that you can search for candidates. We're going to take you through the advanced search because really the advanced search covers all these other techniques, the number and everything else that's in here. So we're going to take you through, and the advanced search, it opens up to the quick search, but at the bottom here you can click advanced resume search, or you can click it at the top, which is also the advanced resume search. When you set, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set the area that you are looking for. At this point, you're setting the area for what the job seeker said they're willing to work. So you can set it up by workforce region, you can set it up by location, by city or county. There's a variety of different options that you have here to set up the area. Then the next thing you're going to do, you can set the occupation. Now I will tell you, if you set the occupation, that is going to be an ONET code, which Star's going to talk a little bit about. And if you make that a requirement as opposed to desired, the job seeker will have to have that exact ONET code in their system. So I don't always encourage you to make that a requirement, but you can put that as a desired and select the ONET code or the desired occupation for the job seeker. Also, you want to put in the occupational experience, which I think is pretty important to have the occupational experience in there. Salary, we've talked already about the salary, education level, the various different sections that you can fill in here. And once again, you need to realize that the more criteria that you set, the smaller your pool is going to be. Now, that's going to be maybe a higher quality pool, but if you set too high a criteria for everything, you end up with either 0 results or very minimal results. So a lot of times you may want to debate whether you want to make the qualifications be required or desired. Required, they will screen out folks if they don't have those exact qualifications. The veterans, a lot of times folks are looking specifically to see military veterans, so you have an option that says, yes, I want to look just for military veterans, or you can make those different choices. Driver's license, if you want to make sure that they have a driver's license, you would say, you would click an option there. Now the candidate skills is what I really want to talk to you about. If you've done a good job in setting up the skills list that are required for the job, then you can say, I want candidates that are going to meet 70% of those skills. So if you have 20, 30 different skills that you are looking for this position, by clicking 70, you're going to have the candidates that have the most amount of skills for the position that you're looking for. You can also set it for 50%, so it'll be anyone that has 50% or more, or 25% of the skills for that particular job. And then another search is keyword. If you're doing a keyword search, it's going to go out there and look to see that that specific keyword or words is in the job seeker's resume, and it'll pull up the match if they have, in this example, retail manager. So if they have the word retail manager in it, then they would pull into that pool if they met the other criteria. Once again, we go through these other options here. Last 90 days, I will tell you the job seeker's resumes stay online for 90 days, so usually it's best to let it be the 90-day option. But if you're looking at resume, if you're using the system frequently and you say, well, you know, I don't want 90 days because I don't want to see the same ones I just saw yesterday, then you can change that option and just say resumes that have been modified in the last day or the last week, and it will only pull in candidates who have made modifications to their resume in that time period. Shift available, minimum age. If these have already been filled in for a job order, then these will pre-populate, but if you're just doing a search without the job order, then you have to select and fill those in separately. Now, another criteria that I use frequently is the residential location. In the area type, I don't know if you can see here the area type, but if you were to select the area type and say zip code, if you put in a zip code, this is one I use frequently when I'm doing matches for employers. I'm going to say a zip code, and I'm going to want people who live within 25 miles of a specific zip code. That way I know if the job's paying like $9 an hour, I don't want to be finding people who live 6 hours away, well, 2 or 3 hours away, because they're not going to want to commute or probably even relocate for a job like that. Now, obviously, if you're looking for a pretty high-level skilled position, then folks are probably more than willing to relocate or to travel for that position. So it all depends on the type of position you're looking for and the criteria that you want to set for that. Once you've done the search results, this is just a sample of a person. This person is Eric Strong of Richmond, and this is the kind of information that you're going to find when you click the search. You're going to see their resume. You're going to be able to view their resume just by clicking that option there. It'll pull up the individual's resume. It's going to talk about the locations they're willing to work, the salary, their minimum salary that they're looking for. All of this information is available for each and every candidate that matched. If you find a candidate that looks good by going into their resume or looking at this information, you can click a button at the bottom here that says Save to Favorites. It'll be on your favorites list, and then you can pull up your favorites list and say, oh, here's all the candidates that I looked at that I liked, and you can have that easily available to you. You also can put notes about the candidates. I know a lot of employers will use the notes section and put in something that says, you know, top candidate. I've sent them an email message and I'm waiting for their response. You can put any kind of different notations and it's all available in the system, so you're not having to do a little piece of paper by your desk or do a separate documentation. You can record all this on the account for the individual. Now, the main thing I want to talk to you about, since we're talking about the virtual recruiter, is once you've done the search and got what looks to be a pretty good result for the search that you've conducted, this is where you want to click the option here that says Save Search. Simply by clicking the Save Search after you've conducted the search is going to set up this virtual recruiter. On the next screen, you're going to have it say the title of the virtual recruiter. So if this, I think this was a chef position, or no, down here we switched and we're doing retail. So what I would put down is first line, retail worker, whatever we want to call it. This is just a notation for yourself for the type of search that it is. How often it's going to run, if you want to run once a day, once a week, once a month. And then it's going to automatically go into your message center in the system. But if you would also like to have an email message sent to you, every time that it runs the search, it's going to send you an email of all the candidates that it found for the system. I will tell you that these are newly registered or new resumes that are in the system. So when you run this search, say, on a daily basis, it's not going to keep pulling the same people up over and over again. It's only going to pull up the people that have gotten into the system with the resume since the last time it did the search. So you're going to get a new list of people who have gotten in there with resumes that meet your search criteria. So I don't know if you can tell, I get real excited when I talk about this because I just think this is like the coolest feature. It defaults, the search defaults for 90 days. It'll run for 90 days, but you can change it, make it run for a shorter period of time or a longer period of time or whatever. There's always those options there for you. Once again, you want to make sure that you give a title to the virtual recruiter, and then you're on your way. Once you've set that up, this is the virtual recruiter here, and you can click on the search to find the applicants that you're looking for. And I'm sorry, here is where it actually is showing the virtual recruiter. There's a tab in the folder for virtual recruiter, and we call this one Retail Manager. It's going to run once a week. It's going to send a message to my message center, and it's going to send me an email every time that it finds candidates and all. So, and that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to kick it back over to you all. I hope that was beneficial for you, and I'm a big fan, as you can tell, of the virtual recruiter.
Okay, well, thank you again, and I like what you said about encouraging employers to use this. You said that a lot of job seekers are using this, so that's a message that we want to get out and emphasize.
Joseph, this is Jim Charapis. Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
I just wanted to point out that this, for the smaller employers, really to me just offers a disciplined pathway for the hiring process that they may not be as familiar with. And so, Bill, I just really appreciated your stepping through that virtual recruiter. I thought it was very helpful.
And I agree. As a small employer, I agree.
We've referred to labor market throughout the presentation, so I'm going to give just a little short ditty about the labor market. The labor market's information such as prevailing wages, which will give you the entry, the mean, and experienced rate for specific occupations, and you can target it to specific geographical areas. If you're doing a training for your staff, it can provide you with information about what resources are available and what cost they are. It'll let you know what available workforce you have in a specific area with specific skills that you can draw from for maybe business expansion. If you want to locate your business in a certain area, where can you get the information about the different communities, commute patterns, workforce supply and demand. If there's anything else that you would need regarding the labor force, civilian labor force for your business in that area, this is where you would go. You have to go through the labor market information. Everybody freaks out when you hear about labor market. What is labor market? Well, labor market can be a lot of different things. It can be measurements, it can be evaluations, as I mentioned, supply and demand, workforce ability, commuting patterns, and or all of the above. So it depends on what you're looking for. The labor market is where it's an exchange of information between employers and job seekers so that they can pull the two together, and that's what we're trying to do here. But you also have you have to use some statistical data sometimes as a business to try to find out what is best for you. So this is the place you would go. You can go to it using the VWC website or the VEC.virginia.gov site, and there's some other ones which we'll provide for you here so that you can go ahead and go to it and play around in it and find out what, I say play around because that's what you have to do to know what's there and what your actual usage might be of it. I do think now the poll comes up.
Okay, well, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and launch our third poll. We're going to launch 2 consecutive polls here. So our next question is, what online recruitment sites other than the Virginia Workforce Connection are you currently using? Mark all that apply. Okay, so we can see that 44% say they use monster.com, 22% say they use LinkedIn, and 22% say they use Career Builder. So I'm going to go ahead and close that poll, and I'm going to launch another poll right away that's related to that. And that question is, how satisfied were you with your results of using these other sites? So First choice is very satisfied, next one satisfied, next one dissatisfied, very dissatisfied, or not applicable if you haven't used anything else. And we're going to share the results. So about 80% said they were satisfied, and about 20% said they were very satisfied. So if you're not using the VEC website, we encourage you to check that out, to invest your time, and I think you'll be very satisfied with that. Okay, let's go ahead and hear from Jim again.
Hi, Dr. Peck. Yes, and thank you. I just want to reiterate my point, and that was I know that the larger employers have human resource departments, and they're looking at the hiring process, and they have the information with job skills and so forth already pre-formatted, and so the time that it takes to set up the account and put the information for jobs in the system is probably going to be a little quicker for those larger employers with those infrastructure as far as operations go. But for the smaller business, again, I just point out the amazing discipline that this brings into the hiring process, that a smaller employer is focused on all the other things in their business, and plus they're hiring somebody and it may not be on the same frequency or at the same level. And so it's just so productive to have the depth of resources here on so many levels. I think as I'm listening to the conversations, it's almost having a human resource consultant in the background, sort of helping you navigate the hiring process, just to put the jobs into the system, and then looking for the filters to try to get the best results out of it. So again, just a great resource, and I keep seeing little areas where it can be so productive for business today.
Well, great. Thank you. Yeah, this is a great idea generator and multiplier. So, Bill, let's just hear your feedback before Stark moves on.
Well, just one thing that comes to mind, we've said, I don't know, 3 or 4 times during this presentation that this is a free service. And the problem I have with that is people think, well, if it's free, then, it's maybe probably not that good if it's free. It really is not a free service. It's what I would call a prepaid service. When you're paying with your employer tax dollars, that is what's funding this service. So you all have already paid for this system. So if you're choosing not to use it, that might not be the best use of your money, because you all have paid for this system that's available for you. And it's free for your use at this point, but it is paid for through the employer tax dollars.
Excellent points, Bill. Thank you. Valerie, let's hear from you.
Thank you. I actually would just like to talk about how this system was not just set up to be used alone. This can actually add to any other means that the employer is using for their recruitment services. So this can just be another step to layering to get the best candidate. We all know the market is getting tighter and tighter, and the candidate pool is getting harder and harder to find the right person. And I think that once you get into the system, once you use it, once you make it work for you and actually tailor it to your job, to your needs, to find the right candidate, you'll be amazed at the results that it will yield. And just as Sandy spoke to earlier, it's not where people who are unemployed are the only people who are actually using this system. It's actually people who are already employed, who are underemployed, and people who are just looking for alternatives and looking for another avenue for employment. And we run the gauntlet of people who are qualified. There are people in here with high school degrees. There are people in here with doctorate degrees, all looking for different opportunities. So any employer who actually uses this system and puts in it what they want out of it, they'll have great results.
Thank you. Great comments. And let's just hear briefly from Sandy, and then Star will move on.
I couldn't agree with Valerie more. It's exactly, what you put in is what you're going to get out. So take the time. It's very intuitive, and take the time to visualize how you want to be presented and who you want to respond, and you will get those responses. Every year I just add another layer as to how efficiently I'm using the system. I have not used the virtual recruiter before. I will. I learned how to do it today. So it's, you're constantly learning on the system as well. And I do use it as another recruiting tool. Quite often in my postings, I will also drive them by adding our website to our website so they can learn more about the job and the company. So there's lots of layers there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I was reminded, practice, practice, practice. I mean, just get experience. Okay, Star, you're on.
Next to the labor market, let's continue on with that. The labor market information, as you can see, the different topics, these are just some of the various topics that are probably more prevalently used by employers. It's just the beginning, however. There is so much more information out on the website and all of its different links that you'll ever want to know. Just more there than it'll just blow your mind. And there's different types of measurements. What would you use it for? Well, employment trends and characteristics. You've got the different wages, as we mentioned earlier, your unemployment, your supply and demand. Other things that you can use it would be, the competitive wages, and it would show position descriptions, and it's just so much out there that you'll just kind of really be surprised at information that will be helpful to you. One of the sites I mentioned, it can be on the VEC.virginia.gov site. You will see the LMI Home feature. This is when you pulled in and you clicked on the picture of the employer and you went down, you scrolled down to the page, and you would see the LMI section. And if you click on there, that will take you basically to the same link at the VWC.virginia.gov site. It all is interconnected. These are some of the things that you will see there. As you can tell, it's just so much information. There's some slideshow information that's helpful. One of the things we have is for publications, so you can either get them in a disk form, you can get them emailed, you can get them in paper, whichever way you would like to present it. Just contact our office and they can get that for you. Under the VWC site, you can go actually register in and get the information while you're signed in as an employer. You can also, if you just want labor market information and that's about it, nothing to link to it, you can come in here under the labor market information and basically get the same thing. You will probably get more if you're actually registered into the site. All right, as you sign in under the VAWC, you go under the labor market information and you can go to the different areas. And here, there's just such a plethora of information. Go in and look at it and you will just be amazed. You'll be in awe. Some of the data information you can get would be this, the data queries, occupational information, just a little quick summary there for you. A lot of this information will come from you can go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is the next slide, and there's your website you can go ahead and pull up. The information comes through the various surveys, the employer surveys, the census, and the different reporting that you will see. You have one, the next one is the quarterly census of employment and wages. This used to be the ES 202 Covered Employment and Wage program, some of you may be familiar with, and it's based on information from the establishments. So this is all what goes into these statistical data that you can pull for more information. Okay, you'll have the ONET, as I mentioned. There's the website that you can go to. It's a www.onetonline.org is the way you would remember it. And that's the information, detailed information on occupations, job descriptions, assistance, knowledge, very detailed knowledge, very detailed skills, very detailed abilities, and this is all collected from employers' responses of what they do with those particular job titles and related occupations. I will make a final note at the bottom of the VAWC.virginia.gov site. You will see two different links. One is called the assistance link and one is a feedback link. So if you click on the assistance link, you will be able to pull up under a quick reference guide, maybe about a 3 or 4 page handout that you can print out or just look at it online of all the different things that we've talked about in summary, with the Virginia Workforce Network, and it'll kind of give you like some steps-to-steps methods to do it, how to look for job seekers, how to reset your password, how do you log in. So it's just a really quick reference guide I would suggest as you're starting out that you have available to you, or you know at least where to get it. The next one is, if you would go to the next page, is our feedback. We do have a customer satisfaction survey. Get onto our system. Tell us what you like about it. Tell us what you don't like about it, because they are always modifying and upgrading the system, and we can take these back to our software people and try to make this work the best for you. Please give us your feedback. We really do want to hear from you. And then if you have any other specific questions, please contact us. You can contact me. There's my website, my address. Gary Scheffler is another trainer here in the VEC. You have Bill Walker, of course, and then Marilyn Carter. She's available to you as well. Please don't, also, one more thing real quick. Do not forget to update your profile as things in your companies change, such as phone numbers or contact names or information like that. It is very important that we're able to reach you if we have any questions, and oftentimes the profile is forgotten to be updated. Okay? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Star. And so we're going to go ahead and just get comments from our panelists, and then we'll go ahead and close out. So let's start with Bill Walker. Do you have anything you want to add, say?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to talk about it. And like I said, we're available if I know the system can have a lot of features to it. And if you'd like, feel free to contact us, and we'll be glad to have somebody work with you and get you comfortable with it and be able to get it to work well for you. So thank you for the opportunity.
Right. And I just would like to reemphasize that they provide very personal service for employers and for job seekers as well, too. So take advantage of this. This is a prepaid service, as Bill was saying earlier. Valerie, let's hear from you.
Thank you for the presentation. I'd actually like to say that I'd like to urge every employer who's listening to make contact with your local office or to make contact with any of the other panelists. Talk to them if you would like further information about, what you need to do, how you need to do it, and, the advantages of using the system. The system works so well, and there are actually a lot of other things that, of course, could not have been mentioned in this webinar because they're too expansive. But there are so many things within the system that can help any employer with so many things, whether it's labor market, whether it's recruitment. And also, there's another side effect of this. Once you advertise on the Virginia Workforce Connection, it's great advertising for your company and for your business also. You'd be surprised at how many people have said to me, I don't even know about that company. Where have they been? Who are they? And it's a wonderful marketing tool for the business owner also. The other thing is I'd like to talk to employees about screening. If you would like to have someone help you screen, definitely contact your local office. It's best to actually sit down, talk with someone, let us know what you want, let us know how to help you, and let you know about the other services that can be provided in addition to the things that have been mentioned in the webinar.
Well, thank you, Valerie. That is great advice, to contact the local office to just accelerate the process of learning and using this effectively. Jim?
Yes, thank you again, Dr. Peck, and thank you everyone for participating. It's been a great team effort to bring this together today, and I think everybody will agree it's a very productive use of time to save our time in the future and invest in the ability to find those valuable employees. As Valerie pointed out, the labor market is shrinking, and there's an ever demand for an increased need for skills. So I think this is a great resource in getting us there. If those that are listening are seeking the SHRM credit, they'll be provided through the Germanna Community College, and you should be receiving that from them directly, and they'll give you the information that relates to that after the program today. So thank you again, and great job again, Dr. Peck, for hosting, and a great job in leading us through the webinar.
Thank you. And Sandy, would you like to add anything before we close out?
I just agree with Valerie. If you have questions and you do happen to be near, or you can call the local office to get some assistance. I became more productive with the way I was using the system after I met with Valerie. So the tools are there. You just need to use them.
Thank you. Well, thank you to each of our panelists for participating in today's presentation and for the preparation you put in beforehand to make this outstanding. As a business owner, I personally have really appreciated what I've learned, and I plan on becoming a part of that system. And then thank you to Kim Rodenberg for the work you did to make continuing education credits possible for HR personnel. Thank you to other people who have worked behind the scenes to enhance our efforts, including Lisa Hauk, Richard Cindy, Kathy Reed, and Martha O'Keefe. And I want to give a special thanks to each person in our audience who watched this live and to all of you who watch the replay in the future. We encourage you to use this yourself and to spread the word. And finally, as a team, we'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our sponsor, the Piedmont Workforce Network, who made this webinar possible. Blessings to each of you to have your dreams empowered and to empower the dreams of others.